Hey guys, welcome back to the DFS Express. I am your host, the Daily Fantasy Sniper, here to talk UFC 219. Chris Cyborg versus Holm is our main event. It is the end of the year card, only 10 fights on it, but some good contests on DraftKings, and that's what this show is. We're going to go fight by fight, giving you the best DraftKings specific play, which sometimes is different than the straight up fight pick, so I like to clarify that. And at the end of the episode, we are going to do a GPP. It's a big tournament lineup build, giving you a sample lineup. I'm going to get through all of that in just 10 minutes. Before I kind of dive into this card fight by fight, it's interesting, the pricing on DraftKings, there's a lot of big favorites. There's no mid-range this week. You have to, and no exaggeration, have to pick two underdogs in pretty much every lineup you're putting in, sometimes three. They're forcing you into a stars and scrubs type construction. So a really interesting week on DraftKings. So as we're going through, really keep an eye out for those underdogs who are in play. They are going to make all of the difference this week. So we'll start with the main event. Holm is 60. I should have the prices up a little more viewable on my screen. Holm is 6,900. Chris Cyborg 9,300. I'm going to lean towards Holm. I'm picking her straight up. And my biggest concern with this is the grappling of Cyborg. Holm clearly doesn't have any kind of grappling ground game. Misha Tate tore through her. Chris Cyborg's a brown belt. Holm's a blue belt. But stylistically on the feet, Holm has that counter-striking style that I think is going to present some problems for Chris Cyborg. Cyborg cuts a lot of weight to make 145. I think Holm's style gets this to the later rounds, and I think Cyborg's gas tank is going to be a real concern in this one. I just don't see Cyborg scoring well enough to pay off 9,300. I think the swarm finish that we've seen when she's beating up cans is not going to happen here. Holm, not going to tell you she's a world beater. I expect her to pull a big upset here. I'm picking her to pull the big upset, but she's not a can. And just 9,300, you have to squash someone. I don't think Cyborg's going to do it, so Holm is my preferred play at 6,900. Khabib Nurmagomedov, 9,100. Edson Barboza, 7,100. If you're new to DraftKings, first of all, welcome. Something you're going to learn real quick is grappling. Grapplers score tons of points here. Takedowns are 5, transitions are 3 apiece. So you look for grapplers, you give a bump to them, and that obviously plays right into Khabib Nurmagomedov. I think people are overestimating Khabib's chances just a bit here. I don't think he'll be able to stop the takedown. I think he ultimately gets submitted, and Khabib obviously has to get this one to the ground. It's no groundbreaking analysis, but I think he does, and I think he scores very well. He's my preferred play at 9,100. Mark Diakese, 8,700. Dan Hooker, 7,500. Diakese is one of my favorite plays. He's not going to break the bank at 8,700. For this card, 8,700 is not a whole lot. But I think he's better than Dan Hooker everywhere. I think he can take down Dan Hooker. I think he's faster on the feet. He's more powerful. I just like him wherever this fight goes. He is one of my favorite plays of the night at 8,700. Cynthia Calvillo, 9,200. Carla Esparza, 7,000. Calvillo is my pick to win straight up. Esparza is the better DraftKings play. They're both good grapplers. Calvillo is probably a little more well-rounded, whereas Esparza is a straight wrestler. But I think the grappling's going to cancel each other out, and they both have terrible striking technique. 7,000 for Esparza. If she gets a decision, she's going to pay off her price. I just don't think Calvillo's going to be able to ground and dominate Esparza like she needs to pay off that price tag. So Esparza is my preferred play at 7,000. Carlos Condit, the natural born killer, 8,500 versus Neil Magny, 7,700. I have a loudmouth bet with Kyle Steele of the Loudmouth MMA podcast on this one. I'm taking Magny. He has Condit. I'm taking Magny because Condit can't stop a takedown. Magny is being criminally underrated because of his losses to RDA and Lorenz Larkin. I get it, but Condit doesn't want to fight anymore. He retired, he's back, he's got other businesses, playing out his contract. I don't think he's there. I think Magny can get takedowns. I think Condit can't stop them. The length could be an advantage if Magny, granted, can learn how to use it. I'll take the shot in the value here. I don't think Condit wants to be there, and Magny is going to be able to get takedowns, which again would score well on DraftKings. So Neil Magny is my preferred play at 7,700. Khalil Roundtree, 9,400. Michael Oleksiejczuk, 6,800. Roundtree all day. Don't overanalyze this. I watched some of Oleksiejczuk, he is just a striker, which is what Roundtree needs, and he's bad in that respect. So I don't think he has anything for Roundtree here. The problem with Roundtree is going to be fitting him in, but if you can at 9,400, I love Khalil Roundtree to get a first round stoppage. Miles Jury, 8,800. Rick Glenn, 7,400. I'll take Miles Jury here at 8,800. I think he's just cleaner on the feet. He's the better grappler. The concern is the cardio, and if Glenn could outlast Jury, you could take the shot here on Rick Glenn as an underdog play because, as I mentioned, you do need value on this card pretty badly. But I think Miles Jury is he's a little more polished, a little more experienced. I'm just going to, and that might not be in terms of, I have to go look at the records again. He just comes off as the more well-rounded, cleaner guy. So I'll take 8,800 for Miles Jury. Marvin Vettori, 8,600. Omari Akhmedov, 7,600. I'm going to take Vettori in this one. Last time out, he beat to Miranda, got a couple of late takedowns in that one. I was able to stifle the game plan of Miranda, but I was actually more impressed with his performance in the Antonio Carlos Jr. fight. Really good takedown defense. Did get taken down a couple times, but after he defended one or two, and when he was taken down, he popped right back up. I don't think Omari Akhmedov, maybe he gets a takedown, but he's not going to be able to keep him down. Akhmedov is coming back up from 170. He's been up and down between welterweight and middleweight. Vettori is a true middleweight. And Akhmedov's striking is not very good. All he has is these big winging punches. Vettori's cleaner on the feet. I think he'll be able to land some good stuff on the feet, and I think Akhmedov slows down late. I think Vettori, my pick here is a third-round stoppage for Marvin Vettori. He's my preferred play at 8,600. Mateus Nicolau, 8,900 versus Luis Smolka. I'm picking Smolka here. My pick straight up is Nicolau, but Smolka has got all the value here. He's got plenty of talent. He's just so damn unreliable, 7,300. He's good in the scrambles. Nicolau, from what I've seen, he's not great in the scrambles. He had a low output fight against Moraga. I think Smolka could outwork him, and there's plenty of grappling upside here. So for DraftKings, I think Luis Smolka is actually my preferred play, even though in a pick'em scenario, I would lean Nicolau 8,900. I can't pay that price tag, and I'm going to use the value that I desperately need on Luis Smolka at 7,300. Tim Elliott, 9,000. Mark De La Rosa, 7,200. I wanted to pick De La Rosa here, but just Tim Elliott is really turned me off with the antics a few weeks ago. Take the fight. I'll take the fight. Where's my show money? He just came off bad, but De La Rosa just isn't good. I think he's going to struggle with the range of Tim Elliott. That awkward style, the awkward striking technique, and Tim Elliott should be able to out-grapple him, win fairly comfortable. I'm a little worried about the output in this one if it does stay at range, and also you never know where Tim Elliott's headspace is just in general, and he did have his coach pass away last week. Just some intangibles to look at. I'm still going to take Elliott at 9,000. Okay, now jumping over to build our DraftKings lineup. As a reminder, this is a large field tournament, so you really want to put emphasis on your lineups being a little bit different and really high scoring fights. Those fights that might go to a slow-paced decision, you're going to want to try and avoid, just for those of you who are new out there. But it's really about lineup differentiation. There can be a lot of ties in MMA. We want to avoid that. So I think in terms of the public, I think Chris Cyborg, everyone knows her. She's going to be super popular. I've heard a little bit of hype behind Holly Holm, but I just don't think it's enough to really sway the ownership that much. I'm going to put in Holly Holm. Plus, as I've mentioned throughout the whole episode, you need price savings very badly. So I'm now also going to sort by, first I'm going to plug in Mark Diakese. I mentioned for the price, he's one of my favorite plays. I'm going to plug him in at 8,700. Now I'm going to sort by price just because there's no mid-range. I need one more underdog. I'm going to take Luis Smolka because I expect a lot of people to be off of him. They've been burned by him in the past. He's weird in the media. It's one of those guys. And Nicolau, I didn't mention this in the fight-by-fight breakdown, was recently popped by USADA as his first fight back from that. He looks fine, but just another intangible. I'm going to take Luis Smolka, need the savings. And now for the last three fighters, I have a little over 9,000 to spend, working my way up. I really like Marvin Vettori at 8,600. As a true middleweight, as I mentioned, I think he's a really strong play. And that gives me the salary I need to pay up for Khalil, who I think is pretty much a lock in this spot. I really like him to finish the fight and score a ton of points. And now you can fit in Habib or Tim Elliott for the last spot. I'm going to take Habib just because the intangibles of Elliott worry me just a little bit. And I think Barbosa is actually going to get a fair amount of ownership here. So the lineup we just built: Holly Holm, Mark Diakese, Luis Smolka, Marvin Vettori, Khalil Roundtree Jr., Habib Nurmagomedov. Guys, I should have mentioned this in the open, but these episodes are brought to you by Loudmouth MMA and MMAtoday.com. Make sure you go check them out. Please follow me on Twitter, subscribe to my YouTube page, give a thumbs up, 5-star review wherever you are watching or listening to this episode. Any kind of rating you can give, much appreciated. Good luck in your contests. I will see you in 2 weeks.